Ooh-wee! Let's get this party started. My high vibration, keep it on, this is day 64. This is day 64 of our 360-day journey as we are establishing true limitlessness. Just like in the movie, we're all limited. That's our natural expression. You're born. This is your birthright. You can't become limitless. You can align or change your mind or attract limitlessness. You are limitedness or unlimited. From the perspective of understanding that the master key to beaming the frequency, the vibration, is to stop blocking the natural expression. So today we want to get into the 10 keys of what is called the vortex of creation. This is cosmic charging on an infinite energy level. As infinite spirit beings, we are sound and light beings, but our sound and light has been hijacked by the dominant culture, if you will. So then we want to talk about unhijacking the sound and light. But instead of focusing on the problem, as always, I like to focus on the solution, because you bring about what you focus about, or you bring about what you think about. So we don't want to fight. We're not against any person, place, or thing, but we are for the master key. The scripture, Yahushua the HaMashiach, talks about the key. So some frequency, wave, of vibration took away the key. So today I'm just giving you back the key. One of the things that allows me to be is understanding my own chi. And there are 10 things that I've done in the past that allows me to rule or establish what's called self-rule. I talk to people every day doing my counseling program or training. And the first key is this instinctual, intuitive, inner telepathy. We mentioned that in part 1. This is really part 2 of Limitless, just like the movie. Except we don't have to take a pill. Now, you can take a pill, blah, blah, blah. But we want to connect with source code naturally. So there is this instinctive, intuitive, mental telepathy. So the first thing out of the 10 keys, the first key is just to be instinctual. Remember your intellect, especially if you are 7, you're so intellectually astute that sometimes it neuters your intuitive inner telepathy. That limits your ability to shine. The only reason I'm here today is because of my intuition. Some of us, thankfully, by source code, we are blessed with a little bit more instinctualism. If you are an 11-2, you have a natural, God-given, divine connection that is there. You have a deeper energy imprint based upon the constant installation and the constellation that you are birthed under. Your date of birth put a specific imprint on your soul. So Hebrews 11:3, Hebrews 4:12 talks about this frequency wave of vibration that gives you the power of perception. So that gives you also the power of magnetism or the power of solving problems, which is at its core what the movie is talking about. So the reason I love the movie is because it gets into the core of understanding the true nature of our limbic system that allows us to connect with something that's not on this planet. But they tell you need a drug, which is, again, under Hollywood. Hollywood just can't come out and give you the secrets. So they don't give you the secret, but they don't put it in a limited manner, or it's not organized. So limitless. That just simply means you got clarity, so that way you know how to think. At the base, at the core, you just know. You may not be able to explain it, You may not even be able to prove it, but you just know. And every time you reach a roadblock, you just know. Now, people are going to ask you, how do you know? You can't explain it. You just know. It's interesting because people ask me a lot of times, I just know. Instinctually, intuitively, I just know. And it produces fruit. That's how you know that you are in line with your God-given design. Because the number one key to everything that we're talking about today is you got to remember, stop blocking your natural expression. How are you blocking your natural expression? Well, you got religion. You are relying upon a belief system that ain't got nothing to do with the way God designed you. That stops your intuition. So the number one key out of the 10 keys, and the number one key, other than probably what you're going to be breaking down, the God self, that's probably, man, that's because you instinctively know that you are, and I'm going to use the word better. Simply means that we have all settled for the person, place, and thing that we are today. Now, you get to choose if you want to stay where you settle. But you can vibrate on a higher level. But a lot of us, we've settled and we're comfortable with where we are at. Hey, I ain't mad at you, boo-boo. Ain't nothing wrong with that. So if you don't want to quantum jump to another timeline, then that just simply means that you must maintain your mind. If you do not want to jump to another timeline, simply maintain your current mind. Maintain the current frequency, wave, vibration that you're at. So number one, instinctual. It has to be instinctual though. A lot of us, we are following our intuition. And all of these steps are books, audio shows that I've done. And I got the whole 10, I guess I mentioned that earlier. I got all 10. Normally, if you put them separately, they're over 1,000. Today, make it available for $300 or $299. And I posted it on Facebook and social media. So if you want to jump on that, as always, just go to the website, make the payment of $299. And today, I'm just giving you the broad level overview of these 10 books, show series that I've done over the years that I put in order. Because when I started, like you, I intuitively knew, but I didn't intuitively connect the dots that I've done after 60 years of doing this. Thankfully, finally being able to put everything in line with my God-given design. So it's a natural expression of my sign. So I don't have to work mentally or physically. All I do is align with my God-given design. That's instinct. Can't be taught. You can't go to Harvard and Yale or Princeton or Brown or no historically black college to establish a direct communication between your mind and your higher self, what we call God. So there's a direct communication between minds. Let me say it again. There is a direct communication. It is instinctual or feeling-based telepathy. That is the most important thing for you today, because right now there's a lot of information that's being thrown away. You are being bombarded with sounds, with frequencies, with waves, with verbs, and with vibes. We all are. This constant bombardment is stopping you from being unlimited, and it's making you limited because you are entertaining other frequencies, timelines that have nothing to do with your design. Remember, brothers and sisters, wealth, health, wisdom, and great relationship is just like your heart beating, your kidneys work, your spleen, your vision. Everything works automatically. You have a ANS, your atomic or your automatic nervous system. Wealth is a part of that. Health is a part of that. Wisdom is a part of that. Understanding how to relate to other people, that's a part of it. That's a part of the automatic expression of the soul. It is an instinctual feeling-based telepathy that relies and is connected to the third eye chakra. and the solar plexus. So that way you can manifest anything you want, aka designed, at a gut level. That's knowing. It ain't got shitness to do with learning. It is a knowing. If you believe, then by definition, you don't know. So that instinctual, out of everything, before we go on, I gotta drill this home so I can make sure, because there is a big mistake that I make, and I gotta remind myself, anytime I start struggling, I'm like, oh man, because we live in a world where instinct is discounted and intelligence is promoted. Excuse me, people talk about Bill Gates, Bezos, all the one percenters, they're very, Elon Musk, they speak, and we look at these guys as very intellectually astute. But the key to, again, activating all of the neurons in the brain that we talked about, your C-terminal domain, CA1, CA2, CA3, which activates the neuroacoustics of the crystal cathedral, which is the pineal gland, the pituitary gland, and hypothalamus. When it's activated, it releases amplifies the magnetite crystals and the calcite crystals in the brain. That opens the gateway to God, the massa. Remember we broke all of this down in part one? The massa intermedia, which is the part of the brain that's connected to the corpus callosum that pumps the cerebral spinal cord fluid. So all of this is a biological process that opens up the gate, the portal. That's how you become limitless. So in the movie, they got a drug that you take that does it. But it derivals the DNA over time, so that way it really causes more harm. They don't tell you that in the movie. So what we're doing, what I've done is a natural expression. So that's why I've been able to maintain it since 13. Now, unfortunately, what they don't tell you in the movie also is to the degree that the gate opens to the left, the gate also has the potential to open to the right. It's just a potential. You don't have to vibrate to that potential. You just stay in the gateway of God. That simply means that you use your instinctual. It got to be instinctual, though. Instinctual inner telepathy. That activates and connects you with your sign. So remember, we can't attract anything. You can't really jump anywhere because you already are where you're supposed to be. You can't improve or change or get saved or any of that stuff. That blocks everything. That's why it works. So everybody's trying to be something instead of unloading something. See, if you get rid of all your baggage, you just automatically float to the top. You're like swimming. If you jump in the water and you're struggling and you're fighting and you're afraid, you sink like a rock. But if you just jump in there, take a deep breath and just relax, put your head back and breathe in some of that good old H2O, you automatically float back to the top. So with the process of struggling, bam, that blocks your success. So success is your birthright. What you got to do? It's your birthright. So what does my kids have to do to keep the last name Rogers? Answer, nothing. So every thought that you have today and what you got to do, that's blocking your success. You can't, there's no such thing as the law of attraction, really. Now, it is because, remember, everybody's different. We all explain things differently. If you notice, I'm spending 360 days saying the same thing over and over in a different way. Because like everybody's perception, everybody's brain, based upon your intellect and your religion and your environment and your mother and father, you perceive information differently. So even though I'm saying the same thing, for what I said on day one, that maybe it didn't make sense to you, well, hopefully something I said on day 30 makes sense. So everybody, I'm just saying the same thing in 360 different ways. Why? Because everybody interprets what I'm saying differently. So my job is to make sure that to give you the master key. And that is frequency and vibration is not the same. Frequency, wave, vibration is not the same, even though we use those terms interchangeably. Frequency simply means how frequent you see something. Vibration is the intensity that you see it. So it's interesting that we don't see wealth, health, wisdom, and relationships frequently enough. So therefore, we don't vibrate high enough. That's the block. Because remember, you already got wealth. You was born with it. It's your birthright by God. God, the real one, not the little one, said that he has given you everything that you need for life and godliness. He said he knew you in your mother's womb. He said that he predestined. He, she, it, whatever. What's the point, Doc? The point is you already got what you're trying to get. The fact that you're trying to get, that blocks what you got. That's the trick. That's why I love breaking down the etymologies of mind magic, word magic. Lucifer, if there's such a thing, is the guru of basically mind fucking people. And if you notice the people that are really good, all the good criminals, they're very good at mind fucking people. We call it a narcissist. We call those people sociopaths and psychopaths. But they're word magicians. Excuse me. They are frequency affectors. So number one, stop blocking your natural expression. Because what you believe to be true creates a mental block for you. What you believe to be true creates a mental block for you. Because energy is an entity. It's a frequency. It's a way, but it's what? It's one. Hero is Ra El, the Lord your God is one. So at the wave state, there is no division. Everything that we're talking about doesn't exist, but it does exist, but it doesn't exist. Okay, which one is it? Well, that's the point. The point is it only exists if you believe it exists. And everybody believes there's a devil, there's a hell, there's Beelzebub, that's Modius, Leviathan, Belphegor. Those are all frequencies. It's crazy because if I'm watching TV, I got direct TV. Well, I got AT&T now. Used to be direct TV. So it comes from direct TV, but it goes, when I turn on my TV, I got 500 channels. Hold up, time out. So I get one frequency from direct TV, but I got 500 different frequencies on my channel. What? So the frequency has a vibration. What? So how do I change channels on my TV? Well, the only way for me to change channels from ABC to NBC to CBS to ESPN, they are all frequencies at different intensities. That's it. We call those numbers. But they're different intensities. But it's still, but they're one. Man, I love the electromagnetic spectrum. I love the periodic table. The periodic table, when I studied Gagu under Dr. Gabriel Ebo, it's just like, I said, what, are you serious? So you mean to tell me, when I was in high school, I could have been a fucking chemistry major if I knew the simplicity of the periodic table. How come they don't teach us in high school? Why do they teach us 118 elements? I mean, I'm asking for a friend. Same thing with music. There's only one musical note. Same thing with color. There's only one color. So how do we get so many colors? Well, every color is a manipulation of one. Every musical note is a manipulation of one. Every element on the periodic table is a manipulation of one. Every god on the planet is a manipulation of one. But the problem is, no Negro got the one. We got all that dumbed down version. And so why? So what do we got now? A bunch of Negroes fighting and arguing over the one. This shit is crazy. It is literally ludicrous. Not the singer. You mean to tell me we all arguing and fighting over shit that doesn't exist? Wow. That's the current dilemma, especially as black folk. Because a Negro will fucking kill you over some Jesus or some Buddha or all lies, Allah, ALLLAW, or LIES, depending on who you talk to, another study for another time. So if you look at the periodic table, it got a big ass H on it. That's chemistry. Hydrogen. And the number of the element tells you the amount of hydrogen molecules inside of that element. God, if you remember, you gotta ask a real chemist, somebody like Dr. Gabriel Yibo, who understands if you take one molecule and you divide it up in a bunch of little molecules, it's the same molecule, they just call it a different name to identify the separation from the one. So we all got individual names that identify us as being separated from the one, but we still the one. See, when you understand, okay, let's go to number 2 because otherwise y'all gonna be like, what? So number 1, you have a intuitive, inner, divine frequency. But we don't understand number 2. Number 2, to be limitless, is you got to understand basic numerology, which is what I do for a living. Mathematics and biblical alphanumerics. So that's the second book inside of the 10 books that I have available today for $2.99. Or you can just buy the books individually. It's going to cost you about $1,200. Now, do you need the books? It depends on if you feel like there's a blockage that you need to address by ignoring the blockage and adding more success, information. Remember, to stop something, start something. So you got to start understanding numerology. You got to start understanding math. So God has no math. God is a genius. Why? God put a water code inside of everything called theocracy. Now, I call it theocentrism. The dominant culture calls it theomathematics. Now, the beautiful things about theomathematics, it is a mathematical design inside of the Bible using the original Hebrew in order for he to cross over. The word Hebrew means the ability to cross over. This provides proof that there is a designer that we call God. But remember, if we call it that, we limit it to that. Your label establishes your limit. So I don't have labels because I don't want limits. Remember, I'm unlimited. So this is how you become unlimited. You become unlimited by over and understanding that the Nephilim, the fallen one, gave us allegory, or what is called allegorical books, stories. Why? Still glories. Stories, still glories. So the best kept secret is source code used, what we call letters, which are chains or fetters, according to Jude 6. This is sigils, which takes us to number 3. The God class. So the God class, I love number 3. Because I got into changing my telepathy. Man, I've been chilled just thinking about it. When I read and I fully understand the ghost spell, I stumbled upon Romans. And then I understood that the true destiny of mankind is not left up to the frequency of mankind. The God kind has its own God class. There's a class, a high frequency light being, sound being class, that removes the final conflict with this Telepathy or perfection, which is the final destination of mankind. Now, I didn't understand, because I was taught like you that we were sinners. We were well done. I didn't understand the nucleic or the nucleotide. I didn't understand Ephesians chapter 2, that the 2 seeds that are far off shall become one new man. I didn't understand Melchizedek, the melanated cheetah, the Zedek, which is mycosis, or what we call reincarnation, which is a return to the mineral or the materialization that allows you to rise in realization. I didn't understand. Which is why I'm providing you access to the same thing that helped me understand, which was what? When I read in the Bible, one of my favorite verses was, every time I talk to a Christian, I ask them to explain to me. So if you're a Christian, can you explain to me Hebrews 6:1? Now, I haven't met a Christian yet that can explain to me Hebrews chapter 6 verse 1 based upon the Aramaic and the Chaldean. So I usually have them go to like blueletterbible.org or Bible Gateway or eSword, where it says in Hebrews 6:1, therefore leaving. And I actually look at the definition of the word leaving, which means to divorce. Therefore, you're supposed to divorce the principles. Now, I'm divorced, and then I remarried. So, although I am cordial with my ex-wife, I don't live nor hang out with or conversate any longer. So some of you guys live, you congregate, you hang out with the principles. I don't. I have them. Like we even, last 2 years, I don't know if we're going to do it this year, went on vacation. Because when I take my kids on vacation for my first wife, marriage, they asked Dad, we would like for our mother to be there. Well, that's my children's mother. So I asked my current wife, hey, y'all gonna be in the same house together, is this cool? Thankfully, I have something that most people don't got. That is, I solve problems because I am limitless. So I don't have what most people have, which is problems. My brain works differently because I'm connected to God. God don't got problems. So I'm able to talk to both parties, any party, and remove all the frequencies, waves, and vibrations that are not the vibration equivalent of the source, which is love. Therefore, we can co-have for the 3 days or 7 days, however long it is, without any issues. That cannot be popped. If they pop up, I resolve them. Because I'm no longer married to old principles. I got new principles now. So I'm not married to the principles of the doctrine. Those are, now, I don't know if y'all understand what doctrine is. We're going to break that down. Because that's another key. That's called incantation. I'm not married to the incantations of Christ. Now, I read it says, therefore, leaving the principle of the doctrine of Christ, let us go on to perfection. That word perfection means teleathes in the Greek, in the Aramaic, and the Chaldean, which means a genetic editing takes place. And it changes your neurons and it puts you into what is called superposition state. This is true quantum destiny of mankind. It activates fractals. This creates spiritual acoustics that allows you to do what? Become a spiritual profiler. So I'm a spiritual profiler, which is totally different, which means what? They're like a criminal profiler. A criminal profiler, when I was in law enforcement, the thing that I did was somebody came in and I was able to look at the criminal. This is how allowed me to develop the DNA report, by the way. And I saw every criminal, I could predict his behavior. But I didn't predict the criminal's behavior based upon prior criminal activity. I predicted the criminal's behavior based upon the number two, the second key to being unfuckable with. You can't be fucked with if you got number 2, which is the morality, mathematics, biblical alphanumerics. Because I don't give a what no Negro says. Your ass is designed by source. That is unfuckable with. Unfortunately, very few Negroes understand, even if you got a DNA report, it's probably just sit on your cabinet collecting dust. It's not like mine. I got to order a new DNA report. It's like, because I go through mine. What does that mean? I know me. I mean, I know you, but I know me. That's how I'm able to operate in Telepathy. Now, perfection, it means access. It means you got a key that unlocks the door to access to all knowledge. It don't mean you got it. It means you got the key to get it. That's what the movie said that the pill does. At the end of the movie, remember the guy who told him, hey man, that there's no scenario where you're not working for me. And the guy says, man, if I ain't work for you, you just gonna be my bitch. I know disrespect. I tell all demons, man, that the devil, he can't tempt me. Why? Because I tell the devil, dog, like, if I work for you, you're gonna be my bitch. Because I know I'm 5 steps ahead of you, homie. 5 steps minimum. So once you understand step 1, instinctual. See, it's not instinctual. Intuitive. Inner telepathy. See, if you're waiting for outside information, you don't know it. Because see, what comes from inside, that's God. Because the kingdom of God is over there. So everything I'm telling you, these 10 steps, I got them all from the Bible. I haven't met a person on the planet yet. I know they're out there. Some of you guys are probably out there. You know, Sister Amber, she's high speed. Dr. Martinette, high speed. There's a lot of people that's high speed. But what's the point, Doc? Well, just instinctive, intuitive, inner telepathy. That is based upon understanding that for some reason or another, source code chose to divide himself into letters and numbers. For whatever reason, I don't know. You got to ask him. For some reason or another, source code chose to create the periodic table. I don't know why it did it, but he did. Source code divided itself into 118 elements. Why? These are called elementals. Now, these elementals are sprites. They're genies. They're mojos. They're disembodied spirits. Now, I don't know why the big G would choose to express, expose, and expand him, her, or itself in this particular way, but he did. She did. So now I've got to go to class and master it. That's number 3. So that takes me to number 4, which again, all 10 of these are books and series that I have on sale today for $2.99. So number 4 is how to be God. So I wrote a book on how to be God. Fucked up a lot of people's theology. I understand. This is called a quantum fusion induction state. That's all I did. Now, if you go to Harvard, Yale, and Princeton, Brown, white boys, they've been doing this. The Negroes, we're the only ones that's lost. Shit's crazy. Ask Elon Musk. He'll tell you. How did Elon Musk create the D-Wave computer? I mean, he says it. These dudes ain't stupid. They got gnosis. They just don't give it to you. So he says, let me jump over to John 1:3. Just for a little bit. Because I like to get the scriptural reference. Because, I understand some of you guys are still, you blocking your success because you got the Bible, but you don't got the access to the Bible. So remember, the Bible itself says that they took away the key that was in the Bible. And it says they're stopping you. They themselves can't enter, and they prevent you from entering in. I took it out of the Bible, too. Every word that I speak, you can find in the Bible. Every single word. How come? Because I know I'm talking to Negroes that like the Bible. Now, if I was a Muslim, shit, I'd be using the Quran. But I ain't a Muslim. But if I was, hey, I could wax eloquently using the Quran. But before we read John, Matthew 5 says, for I tell you, unless your righteousness exceeds that of the scribes, the lawyers, the scribes, and the Pharisees. These are modern-day reverends, doctors, bishops, and master teachers for these reasons. Your knowledge got to exceed mine and everybody else's. You will never enter the kingdom of God. So, somebody got a conundrum. You can't enter the kingdom because you don't have a righteousness. Now, the word righteousness means right standing. Right standing means, step 4, I am God. You're not standing in the... You really don't believe that you are God. That's for real. Come on, man, stop playing. Nobody does. Except probably me and Kanye West. We the only fools walk around and come up with gods. They go like, get the fuck out of here. How come? You can't be God. Why not? Jesus said, when you see me, you see the Father. So let's go back to 1 John 3. So 1 John 3:1 says, behold, what manner of love that the Father has given us, that we should be called children of God. And now, I don't know about y'all, but let me make sure y'all on the same page. Where I'm from, I'm from Texas. See, down in Texas, we get simple down here. Dr. Martinez, we're not like folks in Cali. We just kind of simple down here. If you're born and you got 2 balls and a pecker, you're a boy. It's not like California where you get to pick your shit. We don't do that in Texas. Down here, if you walk like a duck, if you quack like a duck, you can have her, that's a mother duck. That's how we do it out here in Texas. So down here in Texas, we just cut from a different cloth. See, the offspring of a thing goes up to be the thing. That's why we say it down here in Texas, Super Amber. So if I got a horse, it gives birth, that horse ain't gonna grow up to be a donkey. It ain't gonna grow up to be a giraffe. It damn sure ain't gonna grow up to be a monkey. If a horse, that's here in Texas though. I don't know about Cali. Here in Texas, if a horse gives birth to a horse, that mother grows up to be a horse. So if God gives birth to a person, place, or thing, that person, place, or thing grows up to be the God. That's how we do it out in Texas. Now, it says in 1 John, I ain't making shit up to see that. It says that we are children of God. And that is what we are. The reason the world does not know us, and this is the New Living Translation of 1 John 3:1. Some of y'all, 1, 2, 3. Some of you high vibration Christian folk, y'all should write that shit down. Give that scripture to your reverend, your doctor, your bishop, and ask him to explain it to you. Excuse me. Again, I'm just a country boy from Texas. The reason the world does not know us is that it did not know him. So I am not confused when people say, Doc, I don't understand when you walk around and call yourself God. But I ain't confused. You're confused. I'm not. I know the world is not going to accept me. I don't expect them to. I don't have unrealistic expectations. Now, when I was young, dumb, and stupid, I did. Not no more. Verse 2, 1 John 3:2. Beloved, now are we the sons of God. And it does not yet appear. It does not yet appear as what we shall be. But we know. See, some of y'all are believers. Me, step 1, instinctual, inner telepathy. I fucking know. So, Sister Telepathy, I don't have a belief system. I got a knowing system. Because I got it from 1 John 3. This is verse 2. But we know that when he shall appear, we shall be like him. So we shall see him as he is. Verse 3. And everyone who has this hope in him purifies himself. Let me say it again. Verse 3. 1 John 3. 3. I like that. 3. Come on, preacher. 1 John 3. And everyone who has this hope. That's another word for belief. Which is another word, when you hold that belief long enough, it becomes a gnosis or a knowing system. So everyone who knows him purifies himself, just as he is pure. That's how I purify myself. How did I purify myself? I went to the Helios Biblios. And the Helios Biblios said, I'm a son. So I said, shit, I'm going to believe it. And I kept believing it. So after a while, I stopped. Because remember, you can only believe what you don't know. When you know something, you don't have to believe in it no more because you know it. So you can only believe what you don't know. You can't believe what you do know. In other words, I can't believe that I have a cell phone. I know I got a cell phone. I'm fucking using it right now. So no, I don't believe in a cell phone. I know a cell phone. See, that separates me from everybody I know. Everybody else, they believe in God, not me. I know God. Big difference, Sister Veronica. That's why I got access. That's the key. You don't have access to the kingdom. Now, if you're a believer, you don't got access. You can only be a knower. Knower is the only one that got access to the big G. Now, I'm not talking about the ones in your church. Everybody can go there. That's man-made. I'm not talking about that. Right, so I'm not talking about nothing that's taught on this planet by your reverend, your doctor, your bishop. Remember, different cloth. Totally different. So I'm not talking about the elements on the periodic table. No, so Diane, I'm not talking about the elements. So Diane, I'm talking about hydrogen, the number one element. I'm not talking about one of the 118 divisions. So I'm not talking about one of the lesser gods. That's taught in church. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the big G. This is called spiritual profiling. This is true quantum destiny of mankind. To be one, to go back home. That's spiritual acoustics. That means you've activated your spiritual antenna. That's your spinal cord. That's the cerebral spinal cord fluid. That's Christ in you, the hope of glory. See, that shit, they don't teach that at Ebenezer Baptist. Because there's no Christ in you. You're a sinner. You're a worthless dog. You need to get on your knees and repent. Because you're heathen. I mean, that's when I went to church, that's what they told us. So no, boo-boo. I'm not in that. I'm part of God. So number 4 is, I don't worship God. I am God. I know. That's rough, right? I don't pray to God. I pray as God. I know. So I understand. If you got to disconnect, I understand. Hey, I ain't going to take it personal. I am an individual expression of God on earth. Damn, that's some heavy shit right there. Why? Because then you stop doing all this buffoonery. I used to cheat, lie, do all of this stuff until I became one of the source. The whole time I was cheating, lying, I was preaching, laying hands on folks. Then, number 5, I activated the genie in my genes. So number 1, the book Intuitive Inner Telepathy. Number 2, my book Neurotheology, Theomathematics and Biblical Alphanumerics. Number 3, the God Climb. Number 4, how to be God. Number 5, that activates your genes. Now remember, this, because you have something called a body, you have to be able to over and understand that the body can affect the soul, and the soul can negatively affect your spirit. So you want to make sure that you activate your body. Same way you hoosh with it, so that way it doesn't affect the soul or negatively affect the spirit. That's all it's saying. So number 4 is very important. That's how you be effective, so your body doesn't fight against you with what we call disease. So I said 4, number 5. The 5th book, Genie in the Genes, is extremely important. Why? So that way your body runs. It's like you need your vehicle or your car to get back and forth to work. I don't care how spiritual you are. If you are in a body, you can't fly to work. So what if you decide to become super saint and super spiritual? And say, I don't need a car. Well, you still are in a 3D dimension where you're trapped inside of a body. This gets into over understanding step 1, discernment, instinctual, inner telepathy. So my spirit tells me, take care of your body. My spirit does. So I don't need my doctor to tell me that I'm overweight. Instinctively, I know. I don't need a doctor to tell me, you might want to cut back or maybe get detox off of sugar. Because you know when you in it, you overdo it. So you know you overdo it. We don't care if you overdo it. But if you overdo it, because whatever degree that you overdo is the same degree that you got to underdo. So if you're going to eat that whole box of Krispy Kreme donuts, that means you got to do a water only or juice, not a juice, a fruit, raw fruit cleanses. Vegetables heal. So you're not sick, but you do need to take the trash out because you just filled up all the trash in. Now, if you don't take out the trash, now remember, no reverend, no doctor, no bishop, I don't need no fitness guru, nobody calls me, Brother Osama. My gut tells me, you just ate a whole box of donuts. Get your ass on that treadmill, burn up all that sugar out your system before you block your kidneys. And then drink you some H3O. My gut tells me that, Osama. I don't need no doctor to tell me that. That's number 1. So you can't be limitless if you don't even listen to yourself. Now you will take information from your reverend, your doctor, your bishop, your mama, your daddy, your monkey or your squirrel, your parrot, but your own self, how come? especially if you're black. Y'all already know. We hate ourselves. Used to. We are retired haters of ourselves. Now, I love me for me. I got the most net. Shit, myself and all three of us, we could hang out like rock stars and we good. Sister Veronica Smith, we good, Sister Veronica. Now, if somebody that's our vibrational equivalent want to vibrate and hang out and come to the party, okay. We good with that too. But it's extremely important for us because if you don't like yourself, you ain't going to listen to yourself. That's how you be limitless. Man, I love how Source Code designed us. He gave us everything that we need for life and godliness. We have this treasure hidden in earthen vessels. What is this treasure? Christ in you. 225 scriptures that says Christ is in you. 225. So why in the world are we looking at statues and monuments? Man, this is crazy. So I wrote a whole book entitled Christened, the Greatest Story Never Told. How come? I know very few people that has activated what's called a 13 base pair DNA. Not 12, 13. Because there's always 12 around one. Remember, they always leave one out. The dominant culture, they're going to make sure they're going to give you a half two. So that's number 5. The 5th step is the genie literally is in your genes. So I wrote 2 books to explain it, Christened, and the book Genie and the Genes. You could throw in the third book, but the third book, the biology is simple, is more about the human anatomy. So when it comes to being limitless, to remember, it just means that you got a key that unlocks the file cabinet to your memories and to all of your ancestors' memories. So even though you may have never been rich, somebody in your family was. So everything that they did is downloaded into your DNA. You got the key. We just don't know how to access the memories. Because remember in the movie, after he took the pill, stuff that he had forgot came back. This happens to me every day. This is how I wrote all my books, 300 plus books. This is how I've done all my audio shows. All of my 7 to 30 to 60 day, I got to do 60-day series. This one is 360 days. So how do I do this? Every day I'm talking about different topics. Well, like the movie, my brain is already cluttered. So I wrote a book that explains how I got here, which is why I'm telling you that today. It takes us to number 6, which is voice frequency healing. Man, the tone in your voice determines the speed of your choice. This is called portal activation. You literally create a visual mandala when you speak. In other words, you can't see it because my voice is affecting quarks, quinons, and muons. We call them leptons. So science has proven that there are subatomic particles that are inside of atoms. And science says that the atom is basically 99% empty space. So protons, neurons, and electrons contain subatomic particles. Those subatomic particles contain subatomic particles. Those subatomic particles are waves. Those waves are waver. It's just one. That's God. Now, we have an issue, and that is our voice. So what is wrong with, or what is the issue with our voice? What is it about our voice? This is getting back into spiritual profiling and spiritual acoustics. So I'm speaking. But if I'm speaking, but I'm not believing, aka knowing, bam, My own DNA doesn't listen to me. My DNA knows the true me. It's crazy because most people, they don't know themselves. So the minister for transportation is what it's called in this ancient text, this Samaritan document that's supposed like 7 million years old, found in Mesopotamia between the Tigris and the Euphrates River, modern day Iraq, which is the main reason that we was over there. In this document, there was an advanced system of writing that focused on astronomy and mathematics. In this, and now my boy Billy Carson talks about this document a lot. Now, the Emerald Elish, the Emerald Tablets, there's a bunch of other documents that touch on this as well. It talks about that everyone has a specific voice. And what's his doctor? Sister, let me get her name, Barbara, yeah, Dr. Martinet, what's her name again? That came up with the she came up with a machine that measures your voice, vocal profiling, if you will. And with this machine, when you speak, really, it can tell if you're lying or not. But more importantly, it can tell if there is, or if you have a specific element inside of pathogen inside of the body. It can pick that up as well. So me and my boy, Dr. Will Hawkins, when I went down to Houston a couple of times, he has this vocal profiling machine as well. Now, inside of your voice, that is what's called an HHT. Now, these are independent energy machines. And it's crazy because each and every person on this call, when we talk about frequency healing, and we talk about, frequency medicine and vibrational healing and vibrational medicine, we are all vibrational engineers. And you can use this vibrational sound therapy, if you want to use that term, aka machines, to establish and to connect. Like I can't remember her name. It'll come to me in a sec. She had a program that she gave me that I put on my computer. So when I talked, it analyzed my voice, and then it let me know if there was any pathogens inside of my body based upon the projection of my voice. Now, your DNA does that automatically. You don't need a machine. The DNA actually can pick up the frequencies, the waves, the verbs, the vibrations inside of your body when you speak. And so this sound interpreting device, which is you. So once you understand that as a man speaketh, which is the same thing as a man thinketh. So thinking is speaking. So what they don't tell us from a bioacoustics level is that you don't have to use your vocal cords to affect your DNA. The DNA is affected by the frequency, waves, and vibrations because our thought is an electrical magnetic frequency. So when I have a thought, it affects the harmonics, the harmony, and it creates disharmony if my thought is negative. As I said a couple of days ago, when you have a thought that says, I don't like a specific person, that thought first is emanated or released from your brain. So therefore it affects your body before it leaves your brain. That's why Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. The golden rule, which is what? What do we call karma? So it's a boomerang. So whatever sound I send out, this is called resonance, it returns back. So when you have a thought, that thought affects your body. So why would you have a thought that says, F, Joe Biden? Even if you don't like his politics, it's another higher law states whatever you give is going to be given back to you. So I'm going to be neutral to Joe Biden because that is the etheric force that states whatever you put energy into, you push away. Whatever you take energy out of, you pull towards you. Whatever you neutral to, you own. So my job is to manage energy, manipulate energy with positive thoughts. So I put into my mind an electrical magnetic frequency that's based upon my design. Let me say it again. I put into my mind an electrical magnetic frequency that is based upon my design. So I'm like Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane. So when Jesus was in the Garden of Gethsemane, how you say it? He said, hold up, time out. Nah, I ain't doing this, man. Take this. It's like, I'm not going to do this. But he said, hold up, time out. Nevertheless, not my will be done. That's getting saved. When you get saved, you stop doing what you want to do. You stop doing what man-made gods want you to do. And you start doing what design wants you to do. God put himself inside of you as a design. We call it DNA. So there are, according to the ancient esoteric text, there is a new Jerusalem. And this is talked about a little bit in Revelations 21 verse 3. So everybody on this call, your voice should be based upon your design because your voice becomes your choice. So you really don't have a choice because at the base, your voice is predetermined by source. So what does that mean? It's very, very, very important, brothers and sisters, because wealth is a natural expression of the soul, but it's covered up by a belief system that says, if I don't do blank, I don't get blank. Well, that's not the design. Now, that's what we're doing, but that's not the design. So in order for you to be unlimited, in order for you to be limitless, you got to go back to your original frequency, your original wave, your original vibration. And so I break all that down inside of that series that I did on voice frequency healing. And voice frequency healing is a result of an incantation, which is number 7. So out of everything I've ever done in my life, this one is the most powerful and the most dangerous because it establishes what's called an intuitional frequency. This is how you integrate with God. Lucifer is a god of incantations, meaning you are a incarnation, a dirt suit. You are incarnate. You are in dirt. You are in meat sack. So you're a meat sack. Your meat sack is maintained by a incantation. That incantation results in your incarceration. So we got to get you out of jail that you put yourself in, and you keep yourself in jail because you keep thinking the same thoughts. You can't get out of jail. So even though I'm talking to you right now, you having thoughts that are more powerful than the thoughts that I'm saying, because this is probably the first time that you've heard this. But you've been on the planet for what? 30, 40, 50 years. And that speed that you've heard, that created, remember, frequency is speed, frequency. Vibration is intensity, clarity, which creates manifestation, which is confidence. So your speed, your clarity creates you, your confidence. So if you notice, rich people are very confident. Successful people are very confident. I would say borderline arrogant. Why? Because they know what the fuck they're doing in their area of expertise. That is their VOX. That is the power of controlling the simulation. What is the simulation? The simulation is there are just, how can we put this? Images. The Bible says that you should have no graven image, pixels. So there's a bunch of pixels, but when you put them together really fast, frequency, they move. So this reality is an illusion of a bunch of pixels that you put together. So you are picturing yourself in your head. So you picture yourself as what? A black person, or a white person, or a blue person. That picture has been taken. How long you doing, son? Let's say 100,000 times. In your lifetime, you thought that thought 100,000 times. And now you add your vibration to the frequency. The vibration is the intensity of the picture. You got a picture that says, I'm Paul Critter. How intense is it though? Depends on how long you've been Paul Critter. So if you've been broke all your life, you got a very frequent vibration that says you fucking broke. So by universal spiritual law, you must be broke. Because that picture that has that intensity creates that image reality. But you got a mind shift by connecting with your authentic message. That's why I did it. Which is called your unique positioning, which is called the unified universal field of physics. Y'all remember that? We broke that down. This is called spintronics. So this is the super unification of the one. So what I did is I went back and I put a picture in my head of God. But guess what it was? It was me. I put a picture in my head. Sister Amber, I put a picture in my head, Sister Amber, of me in my future state. Remember we broke this down already. My desired future state. And I said in the future. So to tell my team, I went 5 years into the future and I saw my higher perfected self. And I snatched his ass up and I brought him to the present. And I said, you're going to stay here with me, homie. Because in the future, I was already wealthy, healthy, wise, and I was getting my toes curled every day. So I was like, shit, I want to do that now. So I quantum jumped to the future. I snatched up my higher self. I said, you got to bring your ass back down here to earth, bro. We need you down here. So my higher self said, okay. And then my voice changed to match that frequency. So did I use the law of manifestation? Did I use the law of attraction? Did I use any of the laws that we were taught? No, I did not. What did I do? I went to the future. How did I go to the future? I asked myself, who am I in the future? So I designed the future in the present. Then I went to the future and got what I designed and brought it back here. It already exists. You're like, ABC right now is on. But I'm not watching it. So the frequency of whatever's going on TV right now, I got XM radio. Does anybody else got XM radio? It's in my car. But I got the app on my phone. So right now, the radio is playing Brother Osama, but I have not tuned in to that frequency. It exists already, though. See, you exist already. There's, some people say, millions of different possibilities that exist right now. Your job is to select the possibility that you want to manifest and put your attention on that possibility. And according to the science, the energy flows where attention goes. If you don't put no attention, it doesn't incantate. What does that mean? Man, I wish we knew what the devil knew, or the bad guys. I say bad only because it's selfish. It's selfish only because a 40-year-old man should not have a picture of a father and a little boy in his head. He shouldn't, but they do. Women shouldn't have pictures of the fact that they think that they need, a guy, 3 times their age to give them money in their head. But they do. So you could be your own sugar daddy or sugar mama. You got sugar. So you don't need an amulet You should be your own amulet. That's an incantation. So when you understand that words are sacred geometries, more than one, that are used to create what we call, what they call magic. We call electricity and magnetism. Words, aka letters. Letters and numbers. They create words. Words create languages. Languages are being used to deceive you and everybody else on this planet into believing that you're poor, that you're sick, that you're ignorant, and that you don't deserve to be happy. And that you got to settle for a guy that talks to you like trash, or for a woman that, you know, she don't cook, she don't clean, but she still got you still brought her a ring. Why would you do that, homie? I mean, I'm asking for a friend. She don't cook, she don't clean, she probably don't give you no nookie either. And you still brought her a ring? Bruh, what you smoking? But why would we do that? Well, we don't believe. What do we don't believe? We don't believe step number 4 and 5. We don't believe that we are gods. And we don't believe that we have the ability to activate the gene in our genes. Therefore, we don't have a tone in the voice that says, I wish a Negro would. So therefore, we don't have an incantation. Now, an incantation simply means I'm going to take words, I'm going to put them in a specific order that I like. Now, I gave everybody your incantation, right? Now, an incantation is what I call your manifestation script. Now, I read my manifestation script almost every show. And I tell you guys that I am a creative, imaginative, detailed communicator, 336. That puts my creativity, my imagination, and my communication skills into a product, service, information that benefits other people more than it benefits myself. In exchange for me doing that, God gives me something called currency. And I do that at the level where I'm eligible to receive a certain amount of currency. So source code would put it on your heart or somebody else's heart to say, you know what? I see MT33. He grinded hard. He put his creativity and his imagination into 300 books. In exchange for his 300 books, I'm going to give him $1,000, $5,000, $2,000, $100, whatever. So in exchange for my creative imagination that I put into a plot service information that benefits you, you give me currency, I give you my creativity. So that's an incantation. It's a system where you take your knowledge out of your mother beep's head and you put it into a beep, 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 beep system that benefits other people. I'm not interested in the shiny, website design. I like it. The website is awesome. I'm interested in one thing, though. I'm going across the street. Can you help me get across the street? That's all I'm interested in. Now, I want to create a woman for the environment as we walk across the street, but at the end of the day, we need to get across the street. Now, we can talk about other stuff, but at the end of the day, we need to get across the street, and we need to have other people get across the street if we know how. That's an incantation. But you got to make sure that the incantation that you set up that results in your incarceration, you got to make sure that that fits your incarnation. Which means, if you're going to create a prison to live in while you're on this earth, make damn sure it's one you like. It's like if you're going to marry your boo-boo, before you marry your boo-boo, you make damn sure you like your boo-boo. Because you putting yourself in prison with your boo-boo when you say I do. You put that ring on your finger. So you better make, we got options. You make a mistake, but you want to try to limit those mistakes. Because you only got a certain amount of time, at least in this incarnation. So to be unfuckable with, you got to make sure that you've mastered number 7. And that is, you got to master putting words into a particular order that provoke and invoke a specific response. That way you're not guessing. Then when you get a response, that takes you to number 8. Number 8 is Gramuria and Grammatus. Number 8, is after you've done all of this, bam, everything's manifested. Now you're doing what I'm doing right now. That's re-engineering, adjusting, using grammar, or maintaining what I call the grammar, brainwave state. So when you get to heaven, you want to stay there, brother. I recommend, you do whatever you want. But I recommend, just a recommendation, that when you get to and when you establish the gamma brainwave state, bruh, I recommend that you maintain it. So the benefits of the gamma brainwave state comes from knowing and understand how to re-engineer your grammar. Why? So the gamma brainwave state, that is a frequency and a vibrational state that you put yourself into an accelerated growth cycle that we talk about all the time, which means that you have a brain that has a higher wave form, waves that drop down into form that create particles. You got better functionality. That's Gramuria. Gramuria means that when a traumatic event or drama shows up, I got higher brainwave functionality. That's how I can go on vacation with my ex-wife and my current wife, and they sleep in the same house, and everybody's cool. That's why I can go out and bump into people that I locked up and put in jail that told me when I see you on the street, you put a bullet in your head. And I bump into them at Walmart and they say, hey, man, you remember me? Yeah, I remember you, bro. So I just want to thank you, man, because you was one of the CEOs, man, that, you didn't treat me like blah, blah, blah. See, I don't got no enemies. Because I don't create enemies. Now, I ain't saying that I'm God's gift to the planet. I ain't saying that there ain't people out there that have a axe to grind. I just ain't got one. Because I know my intent for this show and every show and everywhere I go and everything that I do in life is not to hurt, harm, or defraud anyone. And it's never my intent. Ever. If we come into an agreement, you can take it to the bank. So my higher brain functionality allows me to overcome dramatic experiences that are external. So my internal overrides external. So when bad shit happens, you won't see me on the bridge, or you won't see me driving my Corvette into a federal building. Why? Well, my gamma brain wave operates on what is called sympathetic physics. Now, this is deep. Gramuria is what is called synaptic, or what I call the simple path. It's not the empathy, it's not the electrical magnetic path, it's the sympathy path. Now, sympathy means a feeling. But most people think sympathy means a feeling of like bad or, misfortune. No, sympathy is the perception or the understanding of bad and misfortune. It means I have an understanding of what it's like because I remember because I was there. So I meet somebody that's in Groundhog Day, I don't say this, man, you just need to quit, get the fuck out. If I meet somebody who's an alcoholic, I just say just stop drinking. Why? If it was that easy, they would have been stopped. So I have the ability to connect with people at the lowest level. Most people cannot do that without being affected by that level. So if I go down to where the pigs hang out, I'm an eagle. I don't get no mud on my wings. Because I know I can go down. Now remember, this now teaches the Ebenezer Baptist nowhere. Sympathetic is the SYM path. That the physics of the SYM path It's not taught. Should be, but it's not. So we're talking about there is a sympathetic vibrational physics, which means that it's a specific physical state or condition where you are always connected. Because remember, there's only one frequency. So, but they're inside of let me rephrase, there's only one wave. But inside of that one wave, let's say there's 118 frequencies. At the very, very top, we got the enthusiastic, empathetic. At the very, very bottom, we got the lost, ignorant, confused, sympathy. I can connect with all 118 frequencies. The average nope cannot do that. Because if he goes down into the dungeon, guess what? His black ass gets stuck down there. How come? He feels. See, where there is no sympathy, there can be no love. Because love is sympathy. But most people think that sympathy means quantum connectivity. Nah, bruh. Frequency means quantum understanding. So the two terms, sympathy and empathy, they get confused. But sympathy in the terms of science, in the terms of physics, sympathy is a very, 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 very harmonic, I'm going to use the word correspondence. It's not a feeling. I call it a fellow feeling. See, feelings means that you're in it. Fellow feelings means that you used to be in it. You ain't that no more. You ain't going back. See, I used to be in Egypt. That's why I can't talk to people in Egypt. And guess what? My mind remembers. So I have the ability to share the feelings of another. But it's similar to corresponding with the feelings of another. I ain't corresponding. I'm overstanding. That's why I don't care no more. That's why I can look you in the eye. I can look you in the eye and say, I don't give a fuck what happens to you. But I'm hoping that it don't happen to you. But guess what? It's up to you whether it happens or not. Because I'm not in the saving business no more. I'm retired. So people can feel the force that I call love. But I'm able to establish a chord using a sphere that's called sympathy. When you get to under, over, and understanding Grimoria, that takes you to step number 9. Remember, Grimoria is understanding how grammar or gramarye establishes the metaphysics of the gamma brainwave state, which means now you're in heaven. So even though you are in heaven, you can look down to hell and you can see the frequencies because of what it is. What is hell? It's just a frequency. Because remember, there's 118 different. For example, there could be more or less, but for today's study, there's one wave, God. Inside of God, there's 118 different floors inside of the hotel called God. Now, inside the hotel called God, I got the key. I got fucking access to all 118 floors. It doesn't mean that I have to fucking go down to the first level. I got access though. But I'm saying my black ass is 118 at the top. But I can see all the way down, and see this is down there on the first floor. I said, damn, I remember Brother Osama. I used to be on the first floor too. I had no idea that all 118 levels is inside of one wave. And that one wave has 118 particles. And those particles can be expressed by how you select. You select which floor inside of the wave you become a particle, but you're still inside the wave. The problem is people forget that they're inside the wave and that they can change particles, levels. How do you change particles levels? Because they're frequencies. You change it by understanding that you use grammar to activate the gamma brain wave third eye activation. That's how you increase the gamma brain wave activity. So what do? Add more grammar when I want to change. Add less grammar when I want to go down. Add more grammar when I want to go up. So I'm a grammar specialist. That's why I oscillate just like you can. That's the whole point of the class. So if I want to be more physically, on a physical lower root chakra level, what do? Well, I put my attention more on physical, like body attributes and characteristics. Because I'm chosen to drop down to root chakra, physical, sexual, sensual, seductive. But if I want to be very, very super spiritual, I got to manifest something. If I want to change, there's no such thing, because everything I already got. Just like you. Everything already exists inside of the wave. You can never forget that you're inside of a wave. Because then, number 9 will get you, which is you'll find yourself doing what is called believing the coping mechanism. So number 9, I wrote all of the 118. That's how waves cope. Now, coping mechanisms are what? Right? Coping mechanism is where you are right now. You just settle. It's just temporary though. Because for whatever reason, you just, hey, I'm going to cope. This is just a conscious strategy. It's a way by which it's a way that I'm going to use my cognition and my behavior that I'm exhibiting right now. It is not my wave, meaning I'm not acting as an individual expression. I'm not acting as a son or a daughter of God right now. I know it. I'm just coping right now because maybe you're there because you don't want to be at the highest level anymore for whatever reason. So now you decide to be problem focused. Number 9 is the only way that you're going to go to number 10, which is clear. Remember, that means that you have chosen, for whatever reason, to identify with the problem instead of a solution. And you have now adapted your godhood to peasanthood temporarily. Because now you're in an emotionally focused occupational state. That's how you cope. Now, I'm a professional coper. Anybody want to know, if you really want to know about coping, holler at your boy. Because I do it very well. Because I'm a 6. 6s, we like to go down, get into the mud with the pigs. Just hang out like we're pigs. Why? We feel so connected with all 118 levels because we've been there. We literally feel. But remember, the way that we feel is different from others, especially if you're 6. And especially if you're 336. Because you have sympathetic resonance. That is rare. I don't know. I only think 6s have that. Because I don't see no other number doing it. I don't see no other life path number literally going down, connecting with people with the thought that if they become like that person, they can elevate that person. That person will somehow change. Not knowing that person don't give a fuck. They actually like being poor, broke, unhappy. They trying to get your ass to stay. It's a trick. Man, that shit worked on me so many times. I literally went from being an eagle, flying around, being in stage 10, whole brain, and I saw somebody and say, well, I got the key. I'm on the 118th floor, an example, but there's some shit going on the 50th floor. Everybody else that's on the 118th floor said, hey, hold up, man. You don't want to go down there, man, because if you go down there, man, you might get trapped down there. I'm like, nah, bro. I got so much power. I got so much belief that I really can believe, and thankfully I do, and been doing it. that I can take my fellow feelings. Remember, there's feelings that create what's called a correspondence in kind. You literally correspond in kind. But I can establish a frame of mind, which is a little different because I'm a 6. I literally believe there got to be a gift of the 6. Because I don't see other people go down there and they get affected. Everybody asking the same question. That's not family members. But I've talked to some dark people. And they said, man, if you go there, like I went to seances. Because I was like, shit, I want to go. I don't want to read about it. Because everybody kept telling me that the devil has so much power. So I'm like, shit, I want to be the devil. I want to go hang out with the devil. I want to be governed by the devil. But then I got down and I hung out with the devil and I realized, hold up. There's only one governing force. There's only one source of all life. There's only one energy. There's only one frequency. There's only one wave. There's only one vibration. There may be some, how can I put this delicately? There may be some classifications of governing, but it's still only one wave. So I went down there. I didn't read about it. I went down and hung out with the power that's supposed to be more powerful than the power. And I found out, guess what? Nah. That power is inside of the power. There's only one power, brothers and sisters. There's only one frequency. There's only one wave. There's only one vibration. Let's not get it twisted. If you stuck coping mechanism, if you stuck in an addiction, if you stuck in a negative habit pattern, if you stuck in a specific brain wave pattern, that just simply means that you have forgotten that you are begotten. Ain't nothing wrong with it. I went down to a problem-focused behavior and established an emotional-focused preoccupation with whatever negative habit pattern that I or the person that I was with was in and got stuck. Just like you. And I stayed there so long that I forgot I was an eagle. I thought I was a pigeon. And then guess what? Like when I worked in the prison, all the other pigeons came to the door. You ain't no fucking pigeon. You should get up out of here. When I worked in the prison, the inmates, I told you where to ride. The inmates protected me. None of the guards left my black ass in there. Everybody ran. I ain't mad at them. I just didn't get out. Within a workroom, they picked up the weights and they started killing each other. You ever seen a man hit another man in the head with a fucking 45-pound plate? Well, it removes skulls. It ain't a pretty picture. During the riot, the inmates protected me from the other inmates that was trying to hurt me. How come? Because they knew me. They knew I was doing, like I told them every day, bro, I'm here to do a job. I did not put you here. I ain't taking you out. I'm here for 8 hours, 12 hours. You don't fuck with me, I ain't gonna fuck with you. But you fuck with me, I got a badge and a gun. And I got the keys. I'm gonna make your life miserable. I guarantee you I can make your life way more miserable than you can make mine. So we had an understanding. I wasn't there to make their life harder. Same thing today. It's no difference. You must make sure you understand who you are. This earth is a prison camp. Most people on this planet are organic particles and NPCs. You are like the guard, like I was when I worked in the prison. You got the key. I just gave it to you. These 10 frequencies, this is the key. Now that you got the key, you got the uniform, you got the badge, you got the gun, but you're still inside of a prison. But you the guard, you're not behind the bars. You're on the other side of the bars. Never forget that. You go home at night. The inmates don't. If you don't forget and you cope, that means you now accept the stress and the trauma that comes with coping with your level that you're at. Don't fucking cope. Where you at right now, fucking temporary. Get out. You got the key. Unlock the door. Walk out. How? Number one, instinctual telepathy. Number two, understand the letters and the numbers in your name and date of birth. Number three, realize you are an individual expression of God on earth. You got to go to the God class. Number four, you got to stop praying to God and pray ask God. Number five, you got to do it long enough to change your genetic structure. Number six, now you got to start speaking what you just learned about your numbers. That was number five. No, that was number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was number 6. Number 7, now that you know your God, got it. Now that you understand the letters in your numbers in your name, now that you listen to your gut more than your head, put your letters, get your manifesting script. Make sure you put in your head, I am. Don't say I. Go to the desire, your desired end, bring it to the present. I'm wealthy, I'm healthy, I'm wise, and I'm in a great relationship with myself, with my God, and with others. Okay, what are you going to do? Now that you got all this revelation, I'm going to use my voice to create an incantation. What is the incantation? What is your dream? When you are 120, 150, and they're doing your homegoing party, what's on your epitaph? That's your incantation. Me? They said, man, that Negro was the most creative, imaginative, communicative. That mother could talk. Damn. And he created products, services, and information that was, damn, that changed people's lives. In return, that Negro was well paid. That's my incantation on my tombstone, my transition, which takes you to, that's what I say every day, grammar. So I can't cope with being poor, sick, ignorant, or in bad relationships. So therefore, I live in number 10, Claro Knowledge. Whole brain, one with God, limitless. Brothers and sisters, those are 10 steps. Now, those are all 10 books and courses. You can get all 10 for $2.99. Most of you guys already got it. Now all you got to do is implement it. I love you. I appreciate you. Ain't nothing you can do about it. We'll go see y'all at the top. God bless.